D's and Lions. I feel like most of my videos involve the Lions because somehow they have received a lot of the Thursday and Friday night attention, but an in-depth and a cracking game albeit. Straight up a holding free kick on Starcevic and all the players stop after the whistle, but the umpire allows the advantage, which is a little strange because they usually will recall this back to the player. Not too long after, the ball hurries back down to the D's forward line and a holding free kick on Neil Bullen, clear as day, over the shoulder as well, taken to the ground. This passage here was such a good setup play. Pickett knocks the ball further forward to a 2-on-1 and Starcevic goes to ground. Petrarca with Neil Bullen surging forward and the give off to Melksham with more space than space itself and f***s the kick by a long shot. Why in the are you turning to the side and kicking this around the body? Just drop pundit into the goals, easy as they come. 30 seconds later and Petrarca knows what to do even under pressure. It's almost as though the players prefer to be under pressure than not because there's more pressure on you than if there was no pressure at all, if that makes sense. But it makes sense in my head, so go with it. Moving on to this tripped call, which looked quite bollocks if you ask me. A diving attempt to stop Wilmot and apparently his legs were caught and there's a slight stumble. But geez, if we paid these, then where are all the other countless trips for touching the hairs on the back of players' legs? Ben Brown being held in a marking contest, as simple as you like. Now, I don't know how many times he's done this, but in my liking far too often, and I don't know if anyone else has caught on or not, but the amount of times that Petrarca is allowed to just throw the ball onto his boot from a 45-degree angle, 50 odd out with a good run at it too, slots it. It's beyond me. Andrews comes crashing in after collecting the ball, shrugs one tackle, but the second sticks and incorrect disposal is paid. A block on Andrews this time and a free kick paid against Melksham. Fair call. Melksham never wanted to go for the ball and instead plays the player who could never compete for the ball. Another block only a few moments later, Melksham again, a little too late to apply a bump in the contest as he never got hands to the ball and he's not happy about it. Again though, this is the correct call as Andrews never had a chance to compete and only if Melksham had have attempted the mark by at least touching it, then this would have been fair game. Coleman picks up a holding free kick, never had possession of the ball and Salem threw him to the ground. Final call of the quarter, an off-hands pack contest to Wilmot who tries to fend off Pickett but to no avail, gets wrapped up and is pinged for holding the ball. Pryor left when he wanted to fend and they had numbers all around the ball, so not necessary to take anyone on, especially in your forward line with little time left in the quarter. We start the second quarter off with a throw that was not called. Don't know if anyone else picked up on this, but I don't think he got a hand on the ball. Brisbane do this far too often as well, lots of kicking errors, especially from full back. An easy hit-up pass to a leading Ashcroft sails over his head and Bowie converts on the turnover, very poor from the Lions. Holding free kick against the Ds, Pickett just takes McKenna to the ground without the ball. Gawn drags down Zorko for a holding free kick without the ball, good call. Another block free kick, this time going in favour of the Ds, another good call. Hipwood shoves Gawn out of the contest to allow McInerney the mark and Hipwood never went for the ball. Coleman taken high by Van Rooyen with his head over the ball, acted this one out a little bit but albeit there to pay as annoying as it is. A downfield free most likely for holding the man or high contact after the ball had been handballed. We cannot see this unfortunately, so in the unknown it goes. A push in the back to the defender in Starcevic who picks up a free kick. Wasn't too much in this one but one hand in the back is fair, so good call. Soon after Van Rooyen is shoved in the back but the umpire not paying in his favour. This would have gone against Starcevic and we don't have an angle behind the two players but there's almost a clear shove which wasn't called. The forwards always soar off into the distance when this sort of thing happens and try to act it out when they just need to try and stand their ground and fall over rather than fly into the night. Would have helped these calls a little bit better. The first insufficient intent call of the night goes in favour of the Lions with McVie and Salem getting pushed closer to the boundary line and eventually Salem says enough fun and games and walks it across for insufficient intent. Good call in the end given that the rule is that the player must try to keep the ball in play. Walking it over the line is not doing that regardless of the pressure put on by the opposition. Danaher has a snap at goal which looks like it's never missing, but the AFL Sharon says otherwise, doesn't even go in for a score. The replay shows that the ball is easily going to go over the line, but just gives up and bounces, taunting Danaher in a funny way. Gawn is held in the ruck contest, looks as though this is across the arms and the correct decision was made. Here's an arm chop that isn't paid to Danaher, can't get any luck at the minute and May comes crashing over, not even touching the ball, interrupting Danaher's marking and the ball across the line. Danaher of course is not happy, I wouldn't be either. A bit of a crazy play in the Lions forward half. McVie stumbles after collecting the ball and gets it away to Jordan with Berry all over him, ripping it away, gets it to Rayner and Viney crashing in and a high contact free kick paid to Viney as it was around the shoulder. A late free kick paid to Petrarca for holding the ball on Zorko right on the siren of half time. A good catch up fight by the Lions ahead by only one at the main break. We open the third with Woe Woden's first goal in the AFL and an absolute shot at that. Along the boundary line, accuracy needs to be pinpoint and the D D's edge closer to the lead. Have a look at the boys jumping on the pack, Brayshaw, then Viney, and just all the lads with smiles. Great to see. Hunter gets taken high, although takes the mark, but the umpire's call of high contact stands. Danaher again getting himself involved, and again with the umpires or lack of, as Petty holds on to him, but Danaher also holding the arm of Petty, and in the end a good call considering most thought Danaher should have received a free. Holding on Gawn in a marking contest before the ball is anywhere near them, good call. McInerney grabs the ball out of the ruck contest and is immediately tackled and does not dispose of the ball correctly, and the umpire catches him for a throw. Gawn kicks the ball so high it reached Snoop Dogg, an absolute rocket this was, and landed perfectly. Another angle of the NASA space mission. The cameraman had to change lenses during the ball's orbit, and the celebration just like,
"Yeah boys, that's me."
Tongue out, he loves it. I love it, and you should love it too. Spargo taken high with his head over the ball. Neil comes in and hip and shoulders his head for some reason. It was a good call. This setup play being 28 points down was superb to watch. Van Rooyen the tap down, but look at Pickett and Petrarca charging forward for the ball. Both break off their man, and Pickett with a clean pickup and lightning hands dishes to Petrarca and goal. A much needed goal, especially with only a minute 30 in the quarter. The slow-mo replay shows it all. Fast hands and Petrarca. You'd back him 9 times out of 10 for these. Last kick of the quarter. First Berry goes to ground with Langdon's help. Nothing too much in this one as Langdon was in the side of Berry. Now Petrarca stumbles over the ball and goes to his knees, and Starcevic in the back of him for a free kick. Opening the fourth quarter with a push in the back on Danaher, who finally gets something going his way. May not happy at all, but I don't see where his frustrations are coming from. Yeah, Danaher helped himself by falling a bit more, but a hand in the back is quite obvious. Petrarca held in the contest by Starcevic, who's given away a few tonight and has a chance in front of the goals. He does go on to miss though. Insufficient intent on McKenna, who probably just wanted to clear it, and unfortunately it's towards the boundary as this is where the ball is, so quite unfortunate, but it's the correct call. In my opinion, this isn't a mark. I reckon it was broken up, not controlled enough for my liking, and Hunter did well to make a contest. High contact on Wilmot with Viney pretty much kneeing him in the head. Whether it was a slip or not, correct call was made. 2 minutes left, a stoppage inside D's forward 50, tap down to the ground, and a surging Viney crashes through with McInerney. Viney spins clear and a snap at goal, and it's through. Have a look at the replay. Breaks his man in McCluggage, charges the pack, tearing the ball away from the bigger man. He just wanted it more, and it got what it deserved. This is one of the grabs of Melksham's career, a much needed mark inside 50 and a strong lead at the footy, and a towering grab over the small forward in Pickett. A double grabber as well. You just know he has to kick this through the big sticks, and they're just about home. He does that, and the aeroplane celebration along with this is absolutely insane. 10 seconds left, ball on the forward flank of the D's, and not much left in the tank of both sides, but fight until the end you must, and the Lions do so, getting the ball further afield until an entry with only 5 seconds left. Lever and Hipwood fighting for the mark, and the umpire has paid it in favour of Lever, and in turn, the D's get a victory. Not too much talk about this mark in the media, but we'll have a closer look at it. So to start with, Hipwood looks as though he is holding onto Lever's body with his arm wrapped right around, and vice versa, Lever to Hipwood, albeit but we can't see that. The ball then hits Lever's armpit and that would hurt. The ball controlled on Lever, but Hipwood has his arm on the actual ball. A weird one, but the umpire called this in the favour of the ball hitting Lever's chest and then somewhat controlled of the ball in his armpit region with Hipwood scraping the ball out afterwards. The right call was made, and a tough one at that. The umpire counter in the end saw this game well umpired with a 26-1-2 sheet on the paid calls and a 1-0-2 on the non-called decisions, which there were very few and far of. Compared to the other games I've completed in-depths on, I'm happy with the call of this game, especially when it's an absolute thriller like that one. As always, play on AFL, things do better with fun and laughter.